Hi, my name is Ian Herring. I'm the creator of The Odyssey of Benedict Arnold, and you're listening to the True North Country Comic Podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics Podcast, dedicated to promote Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Ian Herring about his comic book projects as he prepares for Toronto Comicon 2024. This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe to that video channel. Toronto Comicon is a spectacular 3-day sci-fi, horror, anime, gaming, and comic book event in Canada that attracts thousands of people to come to the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Ian Herring is an illustrator and Eisner-nominated colorist who spent his youth between small-town Ontario and smaller-town Cape Breton. He was raised on Nintendo and reruns of The Simpsons. Somewhere during this time, he learned to draw and color. He's worked on countless projects for Marvel, DC, IDW, and Boom Studios, including Ms. Marvel, Silk, The Flash, Jim Henson's A Tale of Sand, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and much more. Ian's most recent projects are Junior Citizens and The Odyssey of Benedict Arnold. So without further ado, here's my chat with Ian Herring about his comic book projects as he prepares for Toronto Comicon 2024.
So Ian Herring, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Oh, my pleasure. It's good to chat with you.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. We haven't talked in a while, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity since you're going to be at Toronto Comicon. So works out. So before I get to all the questions, though, I'd like to know, what are you reading today? What's on your bedside reading table?
Right now, swapping between dusty old history book and a thing called Saturn Apartments, which I just picked up at the library. And it's a manga, I think, from the mid-2000s. It's pretty good. I like it. It's a sci-fi where everyone lives in a big ring around Earth.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Can I ask what the dusty old history book is about?
It's this one specific. It's a long volume series that I've been reading for years now. I'm on the 7th volume, I believe. It's related to the project I'm working on, but I've always been interested in history. It's this one is The Age of Reason. There we go. So I'm up to the series starts with prehistory and runs all the way up to when the authors eventually passed away in 1970s. I think they made it up to Napoleon before they passed away. But yeah, they dedicated about 40 years of their lives to making these things, and they're a little old, a little out of date, but they read interestingly. So.
Good. So as I mentioned, we're talking today because you're going to be tabling at Toronto Comicon 2024. So with that in mind, I wanted to ask you, what is it about conventions that you like the most?
Mostly just sort of work on your own half the time. Maybe you have a studio mate or some people that come by, but when someone comes up to you with this thing that you made maybe a month ago, or sometimes like in my case like 10 years ago, and I'd forgotten I'd even worked on it, and I was like, hi, could you sign this? It's really nice. I don't know, to see this. We took the time to go through all the crowds and just talk to you, and then for my own part, just wandering around, just seeing how much excitement's in the air, and what people are up to, and finding things that I didn't even know existed sometimes. So
yeah, that's always a surprise, and you're going, wait a second, I've never seen that before. But
yeah. So
that is a cool thing.
Yeah, when I get it up from behind that table, and I'm like, I should check that out. So
yeah, good. So with all the conventions and festivals you've been to, I'm wondering, is there any one particular or two particular moments that stand out to you the most memorable?
There was one I went to. I had been working on TMNT covers for a while with IDW back. I think they still have it. And the editor's like, "Hey, you want to meet Kevin Eastman?" I'm like, "Yes." I grew up with the Turtles. They were my favorite thing, and he was just so nice. It was it was great. So yeah, and I got to color his stuff, and then he's just, "Oh yeah, I'm nice." I don't know. He was very humble, and it was a pleasure to meet him. So
I bet, yeah. It's not too often you get to meet someone who made something when you were kind of young, and there they are right in front of you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I don't think I embarrassed myself, so that's okay.
No, not at all. So you're going to be tabling at the show. I'm wondering, what will you have there for people when they come by to visit with you?
So I'll be selling prints of some things that I've done before, but mostly I've been focusing on creator-owned books that I've created myself. some I've sold before, and in this one specifically, for the first time, I'm putting out the second volume of a book. This will be the first time it's been available in print. It's been available online for the last couple months, I believe, but this is the second volume, and the first volume debuted in TCAF 2021, I believe. And this is the second one, and hopefully following up with the third and the fourth. I'm working away on the third right now, but I just saw the proof and just hoping the shipment gets here before the show. So,
and what's the book called?
This is The Odyssey of Benedict Arnold, Volume 2. So this covers the 5th to 8th chapter that I've been working on. So the first volume is 1 into 4, and that's like the intro to it, and get to do some really fun things in his journey through history.
That's cool. So because you mentioned this is a specific chapter, I presume that there's more to come. So do you have any other projects you can talk about?
Well, I am working on the third volume at the moment. I have to have that finished up. It was selected to receive the Canada Council for the Arts grant. So I'm working on the third volume of that, and that should be done, I think, in the fall, I believe. It's starting to post a little bit now, but I'm about just past the halfway mark. So that's the third one, and I'm hopefully spin into the fourth one and finish this project and get him into a good, satisfying end with a nice sized project. So
very good. And the other things on the go that you can talk about, or is that pretty much it?
I am working currently with Scott Hepburn on the next installment of Minor Threats. So I think that comes out. I think the first issue of that comes out in April. And we have another thing that one of the spin-offs from Minor Threats, the alternates. I know that sorry, I have a cat trying to play with the.
Sure.
He's not helpful. He's not helpful, but he's great. But yeah, the alternates, which we finished up in the fall, but the trade paperback comes out in April, and really excited for more people to see that, because that was a lot of fun.
I bet. Now, with all that you've got going on, I'd like to know, what is your go-to tool for creating art these days?
It's mostly paper and pencil mixed with just to start it off, and then I use Clip Studio and Photoshop. It says ink and color. When I'm coloring, it's always all Photoshop, and when I'm drawing, it's a mix between traditional pencil, taken in digitally, and then worked on with Clip Studio.
Okay. Good. So as a professional in the comic book field, you're probably going to get a lot of people coming up to your table. And just imagine someone comes up and says, "Hey, I'm making my first comic book." What would be the one piece of advice that you pass along to this person?
Start smaller, I'd say. Don't start off with thinking, I want to make a 600-page epic. It's difficult, and it'll take you longer than you think. So start small and then work your way up from that as you get more comfortable, I'd say. And don't be afraid to share it with people. That's the only, you got to put it out there eventually. So it should be seen. It should be read. And then you can learn from that.
And get constructive criticism, I guess, too.
Yeah, that's true. And also just, it is, some people, they don't really want to criticize. They just want to see it anyways. And it is just nice for it to be seen. Otherwise, you're just working in the dark a lot. And you don't really know what's going on sometimes.
Right. Well, you've got a lot on the go. And I'm wondering, where do you recommend people go online, find out about your current and your future projects?
So I can be found at mongooseandson.com. That's most of the projects that I work on that are myself and just me. Sometimes a co-writer, sometimes friends, but mostly those are the things that I'm in charge of. And then for coloring, I mostly post on my Tumblr at iherring at tumblr.com, and it can be found on Instagram with @JuniorCitizens.
Very good. Well, Ian, those are all the questions I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something I didn't ask that you'd like to get across in this interview?
Cat makes a really good working buddy. Just make sure that they stay away from the wires, but he's settled down and he's a good guy right now. So yeah. Just keep them away from your pencils. They don't play well with them.
Well, I guess that's a problem if you're using digital all the time. It's pretty much a lot of computer stuff. But if you're using traditional, it doesn't involve cats, I guess.
Well, he has found a way to use touchscreens, which is that's he knows how to cause trouble under no matter what the medium. So
oh my,
yeah, but he's great.
Thanks to Ian for the chat. You can discover more about Ian online at mongooseandson.com and on Instagram at JuniorCitizens. And thanks to you for listening to the True North Country Comics podcast. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to and like this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Remember to check out the TrueNorthCountryComics.com website. True North Country Comics is on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to that video channel and hit the notification button. Remember, you can follow along at True North Country Comics on most social media sites. And you can send any and all feedback to John at truenorthcountrycomics.com. Thanks again for listening, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2024.